Hello everybody, Andrea Twarowski here with Dentalelle Tutoring. So this video is going to be kind of a fun one because I want to talk to you guys about what makes a good tutor and what makes a bad tutor, okay? Because I started tutoring when I was 19. I was finished dental assisting school and I started tutoring for dental assisting, and then I took dental hygiene, the dental hygiene program shortly after that, and I started tutoring pretty much as soon as I felt that I could help, right? But it's funny because when I first opened up my business, the Dentalelle Tutoring, when I was 19, while I was doing it, I had to think like, okay, when I was a student, what did I want in a tutor? What annoyed me about the tutors that I had, and what would make me the best tutor out there? Because that's just what I thought, right? Because I don't have, or I should say I didn't have any business experience. I didn't know anybody who opened up their own business. And I just thought, heck, why not? This is something that I want to do. I know that I can help people, but how do I advertise for it? How do I, tutor people? Like, how does this work? Will people take me seriously? I'm 19 years old, but I have amazing marks. I know I can help people with the things that I sort of applied when I was in school. There's a right way to study and there's a wrong way to study, and I learned the hard way. But once I had certain systems in place, I was like, wow, my 60% is now a 98%. Holy moly, just by changing a few things. But that's all in another video. But so what makes a good tutor and what doesn't make a good tutor? In fact, please feel free to comment and let me know, okay? Because I'm sure you may think things differently than I think, right? So initially, so when I was in dental hygiene especially, I wanted a tutor in the worst way. I did, because I just found some of the courses, pharmacology specifically, I'd say I had a hard time with oral pathology. I had a hard time with, what was the other one? Isn't that funny? I can't really, oral pathology for sure, pharmacology, and there was another one, but I can't think of it now. But I needed help. I didn't understand it. I ended up having to study for 6 to 8 hours, but then after that thought, I still don't understand anything. So what was the point, right? But in dental hygiene, in the program, you have to pass. If you don't pass, you're out of there. And I went to a private college where literally, if you didn't pass, they kicked you out. Seriously. We started with 50-something students. We ended up, I think, with 14, maybe 20. I can't remember. Sorry, but it was a lot less, right? So if you didn't pass, they didn't care. They just kicked you out because they had your money, so they just kicked you out. So anyways, what I didn't like was we didn't have tutoring available when I was a student. The only tutoring that was available was by my teachers. But I didn't want to tutor with my teachers because A, they charged $60 an hour and I had no money. I made $6 an hour at Subway. That's where I used to work. So I'm not going to spend $60 on tutoring by my teacher who couldn't explain it to me in the first place, right? And we all know those teachers that you ask them to explain something to you and they get annoyed, so you feel bad asking, or they explain it to you but it still makes no sense, or they say to you, look in your textbook. That happened to me more times than I can count. The textbook would say one thing and then the notes would say another thing. So I would say, I'm sorry, can you explain that part to me? Because in the textbook it says this, the note says this. What do you want us to know for the test? The textbook or your notes? Or what are we supposed to know when we take the board exam? Your notes or the textbook? And she would say, well, the textbook, look in the textbook. And I'd say, but I did, and I still don't understand, so can you explain it to me? And she would just say, well, look in the textbook again. It's well, that's not really helping me, right? So we all have teachers like that. We have some amazing teachers. I had some amazing teachers, but it's funny how a bad experience can help to shape you in a better person. When I was in school, I didn't think for a second, actually, that I would become a tutor and open up my own tutoring thing. I never thought that. But after school, I did, as I said, I thought to myself, okay, what didn't I like when I was in school? What did I like? Which teachers did I like the most and why? And which teachers did I not like and why? Because I wanted to be the best teacher possible, because I tutor online, right? So it's not the same as tutoring in person. So I have to be amazing to be able to explain things. And that is something that I'm lucky to have a talent for, that I can explain one thing in 10, 20 different ways until you understand it. And I'm patient because I totally understand. School is hard. You have so many thoughts. You have so many things that you have to learn that you may think that something's hard to understand, although it's super easy, but it is hard to understand because you just haven't been able to, sleep the past couple days because you had to work every night. You've been in school from like 10 in the morning till like 7 at night. You've had to study for 6 hours and work on a project and do this and do that. So it is a lot harder to study properly when you have so much happening. So even if I think something's easy, like a perfect example is, I was explaining to a student the other day the difference between, I believe it was between gingivitis and perio, which is pretty simple. But she just, she was like, okay, I don't understand. I understand that gingivitis is reversible and perio isn't. But if you have a 4mm pocket, that's perio, right? But you can get a 3mm pocket. So doesn't that mean that perio is reversible? So, she just needed me to explain things easier for her. And, she hears one thing. The teachers could be talking about perio for 2 hours, right? But she heard the first 10 minutes and then the last 10 minutes. And she says, okay, this is what I heard. I'm sure she explained it, but I just couldn't focus. I couldn't pay attention. So can you explain it to me in a different way so that I understand? And the nice thing is that after you have something explained to you in a different way, you can then say, okay, that makes sense, but this part doesn't make sense. So could you explain that part? And then I explain that part. And then you say, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And it took like 10 minutes. That's it, right? Instead, you may have had to tutor with your teacher for $60 an hour, and then you could be thinking, okay, you explained this in class already. I still don't understand. Can you explain it to me? I don't understand. So explain it to me in a different way. Often they can't. I don't know why, but they just simply can't, right? But it does help that I have a lot of experience. So I have heard students' questions, and, even, this happens to me too. Sometimes I'll be explaining something and I'll be talking to 10, people, and my students will be like, hey, what? Can you explain that to me again? I think it sounds easy. But if 10 people say, huh, Andrea, what are you talking about? Then that tells me that I'm not making any sense, right? So I do explain it in a different way. So we all learn things in a different way, but it doesn't help to be in school and then have to study for tests, exams, projects, assignments, study for the board exam too. All of that adds up. So it does help to have somebody patient. So I find a tutor needs to be patient and not look at you like, I have explained this to you 10 times. Why don't you get it? You're stupid. You probably had teachers like that. I know I did. I had countless, I've been in school a lot, and I've had teachers that made me feel stupid. And I thought afterwards, wow, she wasn't a very good teacher. She just made me feel so stupid. Yet when my classmate explained it to me afterwards, it made more sense. So why couldn't my teacher just explain it to me like that? We've all had teachers like that, and that's horrible. We don't need that. Plus, I feel a tutor needs to be positive and excited. Excited might not be the right word, but if I'm teaching you, actually I have something here. if I'm teaching you like this. Okay, guys, we're going to talk about PSR. Can everybody see this? No? Well, whatever. Code 0 means this. Code 1, code 2. Does anybody have any questions? No? All right. Anyways, you guys, see you later. Wow, that was hard, actually. Can you imagine if I taught you like that? You would be like, hello, Andrea, you just made that sound so boring, and you made it sound like you don't care at all. If we did actually understand it, we couldn't even see your paper. You didn't ask us if we had questions. You just like left us and said, see you later. Can you imagine if I did act like that? That'd be horrible. And there are other tutoring, people. There's other programs out there. So I'm not saying that I'm the most amazing, but I can tell you that I love what I do. And I try to teach my students in a certain way that after I teach them, they say, oh, okay, that actually wasn't so bad. Not, oh my God, that was painful. She just explained something for 2 hours. I had no idea what she said. And we've all had teachers like that too, where we actually looked forward to going to their classes, or those other teachers where we were like, oh, I'm gonna fall asleep, this is so boring, I teach oral pathology. I teach pharmacology. Is that exciting? No, it's boring as heck. But I teach it in such a way where you pay attention, because I show images. I show my own mouth half the time, because I have everything. Like, look, you guys, I have all kinds of oral pathology. So I will actually show you my mouth all the time. Whether you want to see it or not, I will show you my mouth, I'm not the type of person to just read off of a paper and be like, okay, oral pathology, blah, 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 blah. You would fall asleep for sure. Plus, if I'm simply reading off of a paper, that's not showing that I know what I'm talking about. It shows that I know how to read. You all know how to read from a textbook, but that's not helpful, right? You need somebody to take that same page in the textbook and explain it to you. Right? Not just read it and say, okay, here you go. So I never, ever read off of anything. I will, for a lot of my sessions, I'll put something up there so you can actually, see it. But I'm talking to you like this, because I know it. I know how to explain it in 10, 20 different ways. And if you have questions, you're more than welcome to ask questions. In fact, I love questions, because I find if people aren't asking questions, they're not listening to me. Not always, but it's kind of how I feel. I think, okay, nobody has questions on pharmacology. This isn't right. What? When I was a student, I had 10s, 20, 30, 50, 80 questions every hour on pharmacology. So if nobody has questions, I think they're all falling asleep there, So I love questions. Again, we've all had those teachers where they don't like you asking questions. And if you ask a question, they go, yes, Mary, what do you want? Or yes, Andrea, what do you want? Or look in your textbook, Andrea, I told you, look in the textbook. We've all had teachers like that. So tutoring's the same thing, but tutoring's more exciting because you learn it one way in school, you read the textbook, but then I can help to kind of put it all together so that when you're taking your test, taking your exams, taking the board exam, you go, okay, I have learned this from my teacher, this from the textbook, this from Andrea, this from Andrea's notes, this from Andrea's mock exams, this from Andrea's videos. Put it all together and go, okay, I know the answer. It is A, like easy. It's so easy to have sort of more info, but the info that I give you is worthwhile, not like, okay, she had given me way too much info. I just asked about the difference between perio and gingivitis. What the heck was she talking about? I will tell you the difference. I will explain it to you. I will ask you questions and say, so this part, do you understand? Do you understand it, or do I have to explain it in a different way? You could say, well, I did understand that part, but I'm sorry, I don't understand the second part. Okay, no problem. I'll explain it again so you understand it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I had not so nice teachers when I was a student. I had amazing teachers. So I kind of took that into play for my tutoring. So I tutor people how I would want to be tutored also. Does that make sense? So that's why I love it when people let me know if they think, okay, Andrea could have done this a little bit differently. Let me know, because I learn from everybody. I've been doing this for 13 years, and my tutoring has changed a lot. Like, I went from tutoring people in person to tutoring people online, because people were saying to me, like, I don't necessarily want to come over to your house, or I don't want you to come over to my house. I prefer if we do it online so that I'm more comfortable and then I can just like nap afterwards. Or I've had people say, well, it's 7 in the evening. I don't want you coming over to my house because my place is a mess, nor do I want to leave the house to go to your house to tutor. I prefer to just do it online. I've had people say even, private tutoring is too expensive for me. Is there something else you offer so that I can study on my own time? Like even my my board exam prep academy, I think I've only had it for 8 years. I've been tutoring for 13 years. A lot of it was in person, or what did I used to do? I used to tutor a new topic every week, and then students would sign up for that topic that they wanted to know, but it was $40 a topic. So think about it. If you want to learn oral pathology, pharmacology, special needs, prevention, tooth eruption, community, let's say you want to learn, lots of things. $40 a session is a lot of money. Yet for the board exam, you have to know everything. Do you want to be spending $2,000 on tutoring? No, probably not. If you want to pay me that, awesome, but probably not, right? So that's when I started coming up with my board exam prep academy for $374. That's it. I tutor 1 hour twice a month. So technically, because now I charge $55 an hour for personal tutoring, so it actually saves you money to sign up for the Board Exam Prep Academy, because you have full access until you take and pass the board exam. So you have twice a month tutoring until you take the board exam. Easy, right? That makes more sense than having to pay me for private tutoring, but then you saying, okay, I kind of want to learn the rest of the topics, but that's going to cost me like $2,000 to tutor with you, so I can't afford that, Sorry, guys, I'm just going to have some more water here. So, and I started doing the programs because people would say, like, I would love to tutor with you, but I can't afford it. Like, even if I want to, like, I need help with everything, but I can't afford you. So then I thought, okay, to make it more affordable, I'll tutor everything in a program for one set price. That's it. And I have also learned, what was I going to say? That some students have said, well, if I can't attend your live tutoring twice a month, is there a way that I can watch the videos afterwards? Because when I first started that, I didn't know how to do a live session and then save it for later. So you had to be a part of the live session to learn the material. But then after that, I did some research, I looked into it, and there is a way, but I just had to sign up for a different webinar program that every live session I have, I can save that for later. I'm sorry, guys. I think I'm starting to lose my voice. But yeah, so I learned from all of you. So if you have questions, if you're thinking, well, this is what I want in a tutor, do you offer that? let me know. Please let me know. Just comment, say whatever you want. Now, this was a longer video, so I'm sorry. I always do that. I talk so much, and then it's such a long video. So all of you are probably watching these at nighttime, and you're probably cleaning the kitchen or something because they're such long videos. So I am sorry. But please comment below, though, and let me know, like, what makes a good tutor for you and what makes a bad one, okay? Because I've heard some horror stories. No names mentioned, but I've had students come to me after taking another tutoring program and saying things to me like, we had tutoring at 7 at night once a week, but I was exhausted. I couldn't hardly focus, and we couldn't look at the sessions afterwards because they were only available for a week after. So I couldn't do any self-study, but that's what I needed because I have a life too, and I work, so I signed up for this tutoring program, but it didn't help me, so it was a big waste of money. So a lot of people come to me after signing up for other programs that didn't help them, or they sign up for a tutoring program, but they sign up and then they never hear from that company or that person who's running the program. It's a course, but does that person ever follow up or say, do you need help with anything? I've heard that that just hasn't been happening. So then people come to me after saying, I need your help. Will you actually talk to me when I email you? Will you take the time to actually help me? Because there are some tutoring programs out there, you send them an email asking the question, they email you back 3 weeks later, and you're like, okay, I just answered my own question 3 weeks ago, so thank you, but no thank you. So I've heard a lot of horror stories, for lack of a better word, but another thing is, you know, we can always improve. I can always improve. So if you would like to see something else, please let me know, because I would love to be the best tutor ever, okay? Seriously, because I do this full time, I love it, and I want to help you. And I have a 99.4 success rate currently helping people pass the board exam. So please, if you need anything, let me know. I am so happy to help, but also please take the time to comment and let me know what you feel is a good tutor and what's a bad one, okay? Let's have some fun with this. Okay, you guys? So if you need anything, let me know. See you in the next video.